I wrote this poem on the first day of spring this year, and it was raining. Where heaven begins. Land's End is where heaven must begin. Rain lightly falls on this first spring day, a day on which I retreat from the familiar and life's common expectations, a quiet place bound to dwell, a simple room in a slowing down land on the edge of town. Heaven began with the first idea, the first seed, a brief adventure to an inn by the sea, in perfect proximity to forested floors and the wildness of time. There is ample space to dance and sing my truth, inside and outside. Strolling along the path, a soft, yielding path, trees and air whispering to each other and to me, raindrops gently splashing on my face, upturned in awe. History tells its story along the way. It is hard to believe how many travelers bent on finding their own heaven too long ago met their watery fate off these very shores. Yet the darkening sky absorbs each sadness for the losses humans meet in every age. Soon my breath merges into the stillness. I am surrounded and infused by this unspeakable beauty. Transported to a state of rapture, treading on enchanted ground, where the foggy, moist-filled air is dancing with the sunlight of delight, burning deep within. I wanted that first day of spring to last a year. It was a nice time. It was raining too. It was perfect. And this poem is, it needs a lot of work, but I wrote it when I was kind of lamenting a lot of things. And then whenever I do that, I always want to turn it into something hopeful, so it kind of goes up at the end. It's called If Only. If only I had focused on the lights of life, the good, instead of on the shadows. If only I had noticed more what was well with things, what was working, instead of what might go wrong. If only I had given up criticizing and practiced forgiving. If only I had believed in love instead of trusted fear. If only I had realized perfectionism is the perfect recipe for unhappiness. If only I had paid attention to feelings, my own and those of others, rather than listen so much to the committee in my head that opines and judges. If only I see through the divisive delusiveness of doubting life's original wholeness and insist incessantly that past and future, memories and projections are both the stuff of a dream, will I be free to live in reality here, now, where regrets dissolve into hope.
All right. This comes in two parts, though, so you know. And it's called The Archer. Not quite instantly does thought, the will to power, charge currents through neuron circuits to direct the broad of the back, sweep up the arm, command the hands and fingers, all the implements of duty, as it has the eyes fix and focus. When drawing the bow to its set point, one aims, eyeing in as the breath is paused, held at bay until, with its gradual release, the sight is brought down and slowly drawn to the target. The decision to loose an arrow is as much a choice as it is a hope, and when loosed, the fletching flutters, and the shaft's line is always true to its mark, if not yours, too. In the far, far north, still waters run the deeps. The ocean's conveyance is dispensed with, as is the salary. Thus time and ice both grow thin. Thawing, the icy grip relaxes, and the remaining reserve, that breadth between running out and letting go, closes. Salute, I say, l'chaim. While we're here, we may as well enjoy this intermission, this marvelous interlude, the calm before Mother Earth pulls, drawing back all the forces at her disposal, arching across the horizon to her set point. As she takes aim, though not only at us, but to her real target, which we just happen to obscure. She means well. And now a number between 1 and 6.
3.
Okay. Oh, good. I like this one.
I knew.
They call it singing. For miles around there's farmland, but I stop to look at you, a great but lone tree, of a kind I do not know, but which has long taken root here in the soft love of the Great Mother through the parade of seasons. Your leaves seem golden in this light, and you whisper, your limbs in motion, so thousands of leaves move in millions of ways. This is your body singing. No wonder children love to come near and regard you as friend. Home to any bird, they join in with you, though they play tunes of feast or drink while you sing only of time. I took a portion of this day to touch you with peaceful intent, give you a pat, speak softly, and in a way offer to you the grace I feel as my beautiful eyes behold your elegant naked frame. The friendly wind plays soft through fluted clouds drifting in the sky, and you have a beautiful style, wonderful taste in friends, and your mind refines mine. Your spirit laughs with the ground, and this is freedom. Intimate with our mother, you reach to the stars with muscular limbs, moaning in your passion so that God is pleased. His hands find your soul and feels its yearning to build music. We share instruments, you know. We are companions on this earth, and with it, so are we friends with the sun and its planets. Mountains and clouds envy your dance as they might my legs or tongue, were I among them and singing as I do now, hopefully with you, as you dance. So there will be no sleep tonight. I am become a pilgrim, with the whole of this prairie as my summer house. And it's true, love does bring out the truth. One is never forsaken, as one may be by the joys of our simple paths. Surely, my friend, we can guide each other here, find what's hidden forever, when all we have is time. That night, heaven lifted its filmy veil, revealing the magnificence of myriad worlds flung out upon the universe of unlimited love. And our conduct of that love was exemplary. Thank you.
What an evening.
I know.
Thank you, Sally. I'm inspired to read a particular poem tonight after hearing you. And, oh gosh, being in a poetry hour, a poetry event is like coming home to the heart and soul. It really is, every time. I want to start with 2 quotes. Not written by me. This one was said by Maya Angelou. I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
I had to pay a street cleaning ticket the other day, and on the walls behind the people that wait on you are these quotes, and I wrote some of them down, and this is from Nelson Mandela. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. I'm actually, So I'll start with the one that was inspiring to read for Sally. And then a new one I wrote, and go from a trip to Golden Gate Park and a flower piano event. This one is called Reverence. Why is it that when I hear birds singing, I feel happy? Why is it that after I laugh, my heart opens, soothed? Why is it that as I watch the sun's first rays on the horizon, thoughts disappear? Why is it that while I close my eyes and draw a deep breath, peace begins to grow? Why is it that the sound of falling water fills me with immeasurable harmony? Why is it that babies and small animals and seedlings sprouting through soft, fresh-smelling soil bring wonderment to every cell of my being? I am a child of the universe. My mind is still. My heart is open. I am in awe. How is this delight and contentment of birdsong, this wholeness and laughter, this calm peace oneness from a sunrise, this transforming appreciation, embracing everything, this grace begetting freedom, this fathomless beauty, this life? How is this? There's time for one more?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so this is a poem I wrote after going to the flower piano event in Golden Gate Park. If any of you have never been, they have it once a year. They have 12 pianos around the Arboretum. And anyone can go and play on the pianos. And they have certain times when professional pianists play. So, I wrote this poem. And it starts off with a little bit of a description of it, and I took some words from the brochure and then some haiku I linked together about my experience there. Flower piano. That's what they call it. They being the San Francisco Botanical Garden and Sunset Piano, who collaborate to provide an environment where local residents and visitors from around the world can co-create an outdoor concert hall where everyone is invited to play, listen, and enjoy the powerful relationship of music, community, and nature. All who come to the city's beloved Arboretum during these 12 special days discover 12 donated pianos strategically placed throughout its diverse collections of unique plant life and beautiful flower-filled gardens. Entering this garden, flower piano sculpture. Children touch the keys. Inside a meadow, people picnic, throw frisbees. Some bubbles float by. As we walk along, welcome signs show where to go. Teens play heart and soul. Seasoned musicians play classics, jazz, rock, and blues. Trees wave applause. Anyone can join. Students play for teachers, curious toddlers, too. In this special place for 12 days, with 12 pianos, music and nature are one. Here, heaven meets earth, as melodies waft through the air, where earth meets heaven. Bird songs and pianos, humans play love's symphony. Nature plays its own.
Thank you. This is called Word, with an exclamation point after the D. Word. Wait, that word right there is not mine. Well, not that one, the first one. I mean, well, the one I said before I started trying to tell you which one it was, the one I was talking about, and lost track, or you did, or I did, or we did. But really what I mean to say is that which word is the one word, or the one word I was talking, well, never mind that. Any one of them, any one word, what can be said of one is true of them all. So, all of them, or rather none of them, are yours, mine, ours, anyone's. I mean, none of them belong to anyone. Oh, maybe there's a word that belongs to you or me because, well, if you create one out of need or on a given day for a given reason or just cause, and no one else knows it yet, and so by default you have a claim on it. But then again, when that word goes on and gets around, tossed off, given away, well, it ceases to be just yours, doesn't it? As if an offspring becomes their own being and goes their own way, it will too change as it does so, becoming different, indifferent, recognizable, unrecognizable, in translation, whatever. The odd thing is they live on, and no matter how often they're used. Look at the word the, for example, or and. They're still going strong, and speaking of strong, well, words carry weight too. Bearing everything. There's one word that contains the universe and then some. Others that hold the fates at bay, the gods to account, or are the key to the truth and light. Of course, some course on and on through time without bounds, illimitable, beyond all knowing, and so these are envied by both life and death. Now, where was I? What was that word? Does it matter in this sense? In any sense, I'll get back to you. Word.
Yeah! I like that one,
Okay, this has subtle political overtones, or political subtle overtones, or something. And it's in 3 parts. It's called News from Home. Out in the garden, there are ramifications. The rain, for example, has been steady on for days now, and heavier with colder nights. So that we too have huddled for comfort of the hearth of ourselves, of our own 2 hands, which keep us in touch, even gently so, with the way we were, are, and have been lo these many years. We, she and I, got in a harvest, brought in carrots, leeks, spinach, Swiss chard, and some arugula, because we planned a soup, having both potatoes and garlic already. So it was a feast, what with toast and ghee, you betcha. Beautiful olive oil, some thyme, rosemary, and sage, salt and pepper. As if kids again, we laughed as we slurped. Too. Yes, there's a lot coming out there these days now that I think about it, but I don't miss the news. Rather, I tend garden, seed to fruit, worm to compost, and rearrange our scare cat to keep the pooping felines at bay. Great. At the moment, my whispers, prayerful imprecations, are being sent on the wind with the incense I set out to do just that. The air through this window is a wonder, just as anticipating her advent is, because we'll be cooking it up again, taking things from the soil, washing off veggies for a pasta this time, and we will have our terms of endearment, terms of engagement. We will sup and laugh and so be fulfilled. This is love, American style. We speak our hearts, our minds, and soulfully so, look forward to our kind of garden, eager to give thanks for the earth's bounty and for all the ramifications to that as well. Thank you.
Ramifications!
Hello, and thank you so much for coming. And happy birthday, Dan.
She said this so many
And
times
many,
today.
many more. This is really special to him and to me, to all of us. And to I feel like whenever anyone has a birthday, everyone has a birthday in a way, because we all get to share in that gladness that someone came to this place this earth.
No vegan cake. The cake had vegans in it. Jeez,
So I'm dancing vegans.
dancing vegans yet already.
So Dan, I'm not reading. I'm not supposed to read an anonymous poem.
No, we don't have any more anonymous poems, so
Okay.
we are free of that.
So I have a mixture of more serious song and more peaceful and joyous. And I just wanted to start with this poem, which I couldn't title. I tried everything and nothing. I just couldn't. The main thing I thought of it gave it away too much, so it's untitled. Sometimes I have asked which I would welcome more easily if I needed to choose, the pain of the body or the pain of the heart. For when I am not comfortable with this physical world, how it hurts my mind. But when I am not happy with this world of feeling, how it hurts that innocent part of myself, the part that uplifts and comforts at the same time. Oh, I would not wish to have to consciously choose, for one can seem utterly invasively heavy throughout with burden, while the other burns like a fire, an unbearable piercing straight to that one sore, aching place. I hope, by the grace of God, the grace of love, that is, to someday learn how to live in that pure grace of allowing what is to be. I hope someday, by the grace of forgiveness and faith, to someday know the blessing of pain that, out of an original, simpler, allowing nature, does not have to become suffering. This was from a poem by Rumi, and I sometimes I sing it, but tonight I feel like saying it, and I'm going to change the pronoun to we instead of you. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell us. Don't go back to sleep. We must ask for what we really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are walking back and forth across the doorsill between the two worlds. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. I have 8 minutes or
Yeah, but we're going to try to go
shorter?
Yes, dear.
Do you want just one more?
No, 2 more is good because you should have a fuller time, but you know.
So this is a poem that came out of just when everything's going on too much in the committee in my head, and I just have to find a way out of that. And the last poem is going to be one of those answers. And this is called There Is a Way. How will I open my fingers and release you now? You, unreasonable idea, which I have thought I wanted so, but fetters all my steps. Every time I am taken by your fanciful packaging, promising relief, space, and freedom, your surreptitious nature winds me up, flattens me down, undoing my best intentions. To be whole, to be complete, to be grounded in trust, so that the truth in me can sail unencumbered to the destination, to its destination, coming home to love, harmony, and beauty. That is my real longing, a thirst ever to be quenched, because you, O devilish obsession, have not yet ceased to trick me still again. You bring worry and sweat and fear to let go, that if I do, I'll be brought so low. How will I open my fingers and release you now? You, which I have thought I wanted so, but fetters all my steps. No matter what your guise, there are seeds of heaven within, though covered by your made-up story of necessity, ill-gotten perfection, and relentless habitude. But life just flows, has a balance all its own, round and uneven, doesn't fight itself or the unknown. No foes within, no debt to pay. Life is a rhythm that enjoys its own giving, doesn't think of what won't work, doesn't bemoan any messes or forbid discovery and guesses. It's not what is seen, it's not what is heard. If the mind is set on neighing, life will always keep a fraying. So, I'll let my fingers open wide and let love's oneness be sure my guide. Taking a step, there is a way. I'm saying, hey, this is my day to give this all away, all I ever may. Thank you.
Anyway, I could use A or B.
Hey.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Step back. Both.
Thank you. So this is, I mean, how many people know Kabir? Okay, so all right. So this is a humorist, my kind of humor for the title. From Kabir to Kabir and everything in between. My heart, oh my friends, is on fire with a happiness so very, very great. It's each and every fiber is vibrant, gloriously radiant, dazzling. And it is so light, buoyed by such joy as is never found by the possession of common treasure, wants, or passion. The precious heart is never beguiled by such trinkets, nor can its love be overthrown. It knows what all beggars do. If you keep your life in your own hands, then wherever you go, even in common attire with simple shoes, you'll have your arts to proffer. And so will you please exceedingly well those whom you find along the way, and in so doing also find your estate in being yourself, wherever, whenever. And just as simple folk do, it leaves life to being. It knows that its meaning comes from giving life meaning, as they say, whereby one may then live with easy grace from moment to eternity. We all know the body becomes dust, and so vanity is at best temporal. Why then wish for, hope for, fear of what was or may yet be? Dwell then in the vast, intimate immediacy of its love, and so be contented with yourself as you are, as it is. One thing more. As contented as you may be in this manner, even then, still, listen as if a saintly chorale were about to sound at any moment, and know you will meet the divine at any moment. Thank you. This one has references to historical and other movies and things like that. So when they go like this, I'm reading something that indicates an old film or something. I may goof that part up. And this segues from that. Where do dreams go? When dreams go, where do they go? After falling into something you might call time, so that much later, when that worthy comes a-calling, as he always does, no matter his appearance or how you elect to take it, leave it, whatever, yet will he sit you down comfortably, mind, and begin a recounting of those once-upon dreams you had, where fantastic creatures had crazy places to go and wondrous things to do, As a teen, dismissing the dusty passages of so-called wisdom, pondering the nature of the universe, and visualizing a remake of the world in happiness. And then all those shape-shifting dreams, the top-secret make-a-wish lists, the desire to become a somebody, a contender. By the time you're all grown up, and certain you'd never suffer from the illusions of temporality or get caught up in the flow that ever goes on and on and on until, well, there comes that point when, as I said, time comes a-calling. And then sitting there with time during that very long-seeming moment, those misty hopes of sailing the Atlantic or visiting other worlds, finding a cure for this, an invention for that, finding the answers to life's persistent questions, are as real as the joyful lift such considerations still give your soul, and as the song in your heart is. Yes, when time comes, it's for letting go, moving on, although you both just sit there, and time drums his fingers as you both take it all in. You'll never glimpse Xanadu, dance a jig on ancestral stones, stand atop that peak you saw on your way to school, travel the October country, or walk Grover's Corner, Landers Fields, fly over the white cliffs of Dover, stroll the marketplace of old Algiers, see the pyramids along the Nile, or get what Murray said and 1,000 clowns insisted upon. So, there you are, sitting with time, feeling just as you did all that way back when, as your dreams come and go lightly, passing by as bubbles which pop, becoming less than a breath of mist that vanishes, as time takes you for a ride, as they used to say. At some point, you mutely come to the conclusion that this tete-a-tete has nothing to do with regret, nothing to do with anything at all like that. In fact, it's just a show for a very exclusive audience of what? And then time nods just exactly as you do. Regret has nothing on this sort of loss. As you look up, one last bubble approaches, kinda wobbly. You're uncertain it will make it. Oh, how you wish it was a book you could reread at your leisure. But it isn't. And it wasn't made for that. Certainly. Nope. Not made for that at all. Well, in response to the news stories, as you can tell from the title of this poem, it's a dated poem. But at the end you get to I mentioned the news stories, and for 3 days I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So, Trump's rump on a stump. Trumpeting Trump is on the stump, we hear. A selfish, brash, rash everyman. He says it clear. He can't be bought, not with his billions, no, with his ill-gotten gains from ripped-off workers, you know. But everyone's okay with his string of wives. They love his rageaholic assaults on innocent lives. Each and every wigged-out, contradictory, off-the-cuff plan. Thus, I might rhetorically ask the common, intelligent human, oh, how did this imbecile resident wind up on the roadway to president? With vocabulary crass, he brays much like an ass, and the nations worldwide, they are hesitant. We wonder how Trump's farce came to pass. How could he ever joke about that Zyklon gas? The KKK licks him up as if he's just so yummy. He says he doesn't know him, but he's no dummy. Yes, his mouth spews what usually exits an ass. As for honor and morals, well, he has taken a pass. But oh snap, there's one more thing, and it's a ring-a-ding-ding. Sarah Palin offers to sign on with Trump. Did you hear? So now there's more to say. Just let me be clear. Trump and Palin, why sure, it cuts to the quick. Now we have lipstick and dipstick. So it couldn't be plainer. This pair would be a no-brainer. Woo! and it took so long to get it done. The election was over before the time we really finished. So, but I had to figure tonight. Thank you for. I'm going to read that after that because there's a connection. And so, in the philosophical vein, the metaphysical philosophical vein, this is the reason everything goes away. The reason everything goes away. First, it should be reasons, because there's more than one. It should be the reasons everything goes away. First, only nothing is forever. Because it, for all its mystery, in all its absolute simplicity, is all there was before the beginning of everything, and it's all that will remain still waiting on and on after everything goes the way of all things. Yep, it'll be right there, everywhere, being all that it can't be after the ending of everything. Now, there are some who call it the all foundation, that from which or out of which everything mysteriously came in a flash, as it were, just as it will always be that which is inevitably left behind. It is the basis for any kind of cost, the front load, if you will, which tempers any gain, the principal factor or variable, which all such calculations must include in order to deduce a true value over time. Only nothing forever is or forever will be, no matter how we perceive it. So when some infinite mind conceived of light which burst forth resplendently for want of contrast, the unending nothing was still everywhere, just as it was before the spectacle. Back then, it awaited the light, racing ever outward, onward, through the vast, all-encompassing void, so one might not suspect, what with all the stellar displays and all, that even today, so very long after, the infinite, unaffected night of it is still waiting before, no matter how fast or how far light may ever go. And there's also a bit of metaphysical. What is, okay, we've got metaphysics. What is nothing but that which is yet to be? What is that which is yet to be but that which is meant for being? What is meant for being but that which means to become? What is that which means to become but that which is aspiration? What is aspiration but that which is informing and form? What is that which is informing and form but that which you think you are? What is that which you think you are but that which you need to be? What is that which you need to be but that to which you desire? What is that to which you desire but a vision of a name? What is a vision of a name but what you dream? What is your dream but what you think of? What is what you think of but what intention is? What is intention but the upwell out of the formless? What is the upwell of the formless but that which comes before all? What is that which comes before all but nothing? What is nothing but that which is yet to be? There you go. Thank you.
Oh. Hey guys at the back.
This is called Life's Satisfactions. Her hands reaching up toward the sky, she drinks the warmth of the bright sun flowing down her shoulders into her arms, filling her whole being with exalted gratitude. The peace of comfort and safety, absent of time, unfolds in an instant. Patiently and tenderly, he speaks to the plants in a garden, full of love life, splashing fountains of water onto the leaves, opening their tiny, happy mouths. They read stories, sing songs, tell jokes among themselves, and a few friends who happen to come along. Life's pungent satisfactions, steeping the senses, delighting the heart, connecting one to all, surely lift us up in magical ways. Why do they touch us so? What is it that we don't know? And must these moments come only to go? I've heard there are those who dwell in a place where there is no longing. Perhaps they are simple. Perhaps they don't assume. Perhaps their satisfactions are with them all the time inside. So one day I was just sitting there waiting for a poem to come, and nothing came. And then I realized, oh, that's my poem. So, catching a poem. It's sitting on a shelf, waiting all this time, waiting to be known and sown. Or rolling down the street, past people, places, things. It's asking for attention so it can cease to roam. It's floating in the air. Can I see it? Can I hear? The music of my soul is there. It's deep inside my heart, a gift meant to be unwrapped. Let me catch a poem today, give it voice, find what it wants to say. And this last poem is called Homage to Indigenous Peoples Everywhere. Throughout the ages, native dwellers living close to the land, life's original citizens everywhere have encountered conquerors indifferent to their customs who have changed the face and essence of their very existence, uprooting, subjugating, and even annihilating them. Since my earliest years, I have felt an innate appreciation of the indigenous peoples throughout the world who first inherited Earth's natural resources and lived in relationship with them. Over time, I've learned it's one thing to care about something and quite another to do something about what one believes they care about. Things have changed a lot since long ago. The journey from mind to heart to feet is long, yet unavoidably imperative. What will become of the great gift of life expressing itself as humanity if we listen to the unenlightened ones who tell us progress is material wealth and power, which, without life-sustaining usefulness, only separates humans from the essence of their being and the future of their lives? What will become of the miracle of life giving itself to us if we listen to the ones who ignorantly or knowingly distract from the truth that progress is the evolution of the connectedness of every part to the whole, the unity of the earth and every life form in it, including all its peoples? Progress does not destroy through disregard of the laws underpinning life. It creates order and harmony. As wise leaders and visionaries have urged, it is a consciousness of we rather than I which makes it possible for life's natural diversity, that is the nature of life, to exist in relationship with the wholeness, the oneness of everything. This is what gives meaning to all it is and what progress is all about. Homage to indigenous peoples everywhere. May you forever teach me how to live better.
Thank you. Wendy Walters, ladies and gentlemen.
This is called What with Who. Don't confuse my what with my who. That's one kind favor I'll ask of you. Anyone can disguise anyone with what they think they see by believing what someone can or cannot be. Skin colors color opinions through and through with unspoken prejudgments invisibly held as true. But this sharp blade cuts both ways and right through, slicing those whom you see as well as deeply into you. While it may be correct, one always has a choice as to when, where, why, or how one uses one's voice, or that it vitally matters that you say what you feel. You can't retract thoughts once you've made them real. When you speak, and no matter how you do, don't confuse anyone's what with their who. Blood is always red, every soul void of hue. Love is love beneath the skin of anyone you see, so who enslaves whom when perceptions aren't free? When you confuse someone's what with their who, naming separates the life and the loving heart out of you. What's your take on the color of a kind hand that gives? What's the color of the forever love that always lives? If you keep your heart in truth, hear what it has to say. Its love and understanding will sweep all that old thinking away. To the man, the establishment, those of the 1%, this matters to us above all else. It's why we rally, why we vent. And we know who you are and what it is you do. And promise, we won't be confusing your what with your who. And this is angels. This is the other problem. Why are you talking about angels? Angels. Whoever they were once, whatever they did once, they are now something else. They may deign to consider, nod in recognition, reminisce with understanding and compassion, but are not convinced by tears, moved by humility or modesty, even when these accompany the most sincere of imprecations. No, none such of these move an angelic soul, nor do they recognize you when you indicate, prevaricate, or postulate. Still, in their dazzling robes, radiant wings, and through their incandescent hearts, they bless with compassion, are melodious of voice, do ordain and implore for the common good, the duty to persevere on behalf of everyone. And they do this, in the main, by exemplification and then hoping for the best. And this one's, the prompt was a warning. And as a longtime teacher of second grade children, I would often provide them with warnings of life and what to not do and beware of. But anyway, can you imagine being a 7-year-old and hearing this warning? You want me to read a story? Do you? Well, I just might. But you should know I don't just read what's there. I will tell a story on a story. Give the word up on a word and we'll go off. Come to tell me more, and I do things with stories, with you inside. I get under your skin, tickle your fancy, get you to look at things differently. Trouble is, once you know how to do that, you never, ever stop. The warning.
Thank you so much. How do you pronounce your name? Lilo?
I've been interested a lot lately in reading some Native American poetry some books that I bought. And I wanted to read one from someone who hosted a reading this past week in Alameda. The Alameda Island Poets, where Dan and I were. Her name is, hold on. Nanette Dietz.
Yeah, Nanette Dietz.
Nanette Dietz. And I heard her read this poem once and I loved it. So, Night Eagle. I think I'm going to need my glasses too. Called Night Eagle by Nanette Dietz.
D-I-E-T-Z.
The night eagle landed softly last night, eyes a red amber glow among the headlights on 880. We headed north toward the Bay Bridge and Alcatraz. The wind from her wings whispered into my ears. Creator came to earth that night in owl's form to tell me about you. I already knew. I had been waiting, watching, praying, hoping to find warriors here in the land of the crazy time of the fast-flying wheel, taking us all too far away from our mother, Maka'ina, Mother Earth. Suddenly, I saw an eagle dancer, your spirit brother, spirit sister, dancing through concrete, metal, and bless. I saw you and I recognized you. I recognized you. Your strong heart and soft eyes said that you too travel through dreams. We all breathe the same ether of the other worlds. Dream dancers, ghost dancers in this middle land of pain and tears. Wakantanka, Creator, send us a dream so we can all dance together. I'm just going to read one of my color poems. I've been writing a poem about each color, how the color makes me feel and think. So, I'm going to read yellow. Yellow sings out sunlight, active and bright. It's a hullabaloo of skibbity-doo-dah, fun and friendly, laughing all the way, till the forgotten magical child transforms every doubt into hope. It's a festival where innocence and wisdom meet and shake hands, and joy is saved from extinction. Thank you.
All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is called I Sing, and it's a true story, or based on a true story. I admit it, simply enough, I sing. Sometimes I whistle, too. It's a bit odd, I'll admit that for sure. In this world of plugged-in, interconnected disconnection, I am a rare bird. Once I was strolling downtown when I noticed how intent everyone was. All around me they strode quickly along, staring at screens, fingering figures, and oddly, I was moved to whistle an old tune. I loved it. I knew the words, but I couldn't bring myself to sing. I feared I'd be embarrassed, but I couldn't say why. After all, who would hear? It seemed that singing as one walks in a crowd is too interpersonal a thing. But whistling, well, maybe not so much. Even then, it was still almost too crazy odd. Yet there I was, whistling along, the only live performer in the midst of thousands on a bustling downtown business district sidewalk, a musical note among the workaday sidewalk scene where everywhere I glanced, the plugged-in, interconnected, dazed of eye, deaf of ear, and distracted of gaze were intent upon vibrations no one else was aware of. No sharing, no glances, no caring, nor nods. I could but watch as I moved on through them, and so I was free to whistle away, singing along to the song in my mind, of course. Now, I reflected on my resistance to singing as well as the satisfaction of whistling, even as the throng with its many widely varied people on the strangely silent sidewalk, each with their rigid face determined and attentive to something else from somewhere else, each with far-away eyes. None of them could hear me, and in that odd kind of public privacy, I could whistle on my merry way, which I did as much as I pleased, though I dared not sing. Okay, so in line with the theme of 3, this poem is actually very old, and it was written under the influence of meditation and metaphysics and things like that. So, it doesn't have a title. Curing the ill is not unlike raising the dead. Here, some in coffin bones now opened to the air and sunlight, how an emotion swift, a bright cloud mist transpires, a flurry intense, oh, the air whips the mist about the skull, gleaming through the sockets, whistling wind around the spine, flushing, filling through the light, the ribs, filling out the hips, veil spun out of nowhere, frothing, a cloth bathing the bones in shape, ghost webbing muscles and tendons, the blush of blood and a finale of skin. I open my eyes, smile. I say, "Wonderful! Oh, thank you." He raises me up. I stand made whole, amazed. I face him. He looks at me in the face and slaps me twice and real hard, saying, "Stupid, stupid, it was all your fault, and now my responsibility." "Oh, what we pursue," he says, and talks on and on about worldly passions and consumptive woes. So I look about. We're in the middle of nowhere. Trees and hills. There's a stream over there. I cannot get a word in edgewise or otherwise. I look myself over. I look pretty darn good. I grab him, shake him out of it. "Thank you," I shout. But he simply stops his raving, turns, and walks away. I call out, "You name it, it's been done once, if not 1,000 million uncountable times." He does not respond in any way, and is soon gone from sight. Here I am. So I tell you this, that, all of this is beyond my ability to understand. I would love the knowing, the calling of all I am, but it was quiet. I looked skyward. The blue was as endless as the love. I say, God bless you too, I guess. Thank you.
Poem I wrote when I was feeling very fed up with all the data collecting and knowledge collecting and information collecting and just the saturation of it, and how much humans are beginning to lose just being in life and being present with their experience rather than just in their head. It's called What is the Worth of an Experience? Life begins with impressions of light and sound, then presents feelings, a foundation to start, and then comes meaning. Emotions are born. Soon, some become outlooks not meant to be worn. I've thought about hardship, every version there could be, how sometimes they weigh too much and get the best of you and me. Fear brings shudders of many a scare, disappointments yield their tears, and when not known and honored, anger's conflicts loom quite near. But I've also seen life's goodness, something bigger in the air, that somehow wraps around us all, sustaining us through every care. While there are doorways to our souls, hidden deep within our hearts, yet we get buried by life's stories with ideas that separate us from ourselves. There is no price for rage and grief, nor the narrowing of life's gain, and the worth of peace and joy can never be measured by any means. Things are things. We swap and guess our next pursuit of happiness, but the substance of experience is what we have, worth everything. I can't touch experience with my hands, or make it come or go, but it will tell me what I need to know. It will take me to myself and what is true, and maybe it will pave the way to connect what is me with what is you.
All right. We're just doing applause. You have
Oh, sorry.
it's okay.
How much time left?
It's okay.
How much time?
Oh, you got almost 3 minutes.
Yeah.
A minute? Okay.
3. Almost 3.
2.5, 3.
I just wanted to read this.
2.795843
Right,
27655438728.
Well, now negative.
I just wanted to read this poem by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. It's called Pity the Nation, after Khalil Gibran. Pity the nation whose people are sheep and whose shepherds mislead them. Pity the nation whose leaders are liars, whose sages are silenced, and whose bigots haunt the airwaves. Pity the nation that raises not its voice except to praise conquerors and acclaim the bully as hero, and aims to rule the world by force and by torture. Pity the nation that knows no other language but its own, and no other culture but its own, Pity the nation whose breath is money and sleeps the sleep of the too well fed. Pity the nation. Oh, pity the people who allow their rights to erode and their freedoms to be washed away. My country, tears of thee, sweet land of liberty.
Nice.
Oh.
Just one more short thing. This is a poem written by Sally Love Saunders, who comes here once in a blue moon. And she does once or twice a year a poetry workshop at the Cultural Integration Fellowship. I think she's going to have one in June, so I'll find out the date. And she does a lot of playful, childlike poems, and also some poems sometimes that are really clever and really catch me. And this one's called Non-Involvement. I think this is what happens a lot with people nowadays in this day and age, especially with cell phones. She goes to the zoo, looks at the animals, but does not feed them. She goes to the art museum, sees the statues, but doesn't feel them. She went to the beach, but never allowed the salt to sting her. She shook his hand, but never held it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And again, I'm going to give her the...